No, they're gone? My chicken meatballs have been stolen? Could you explain what this is all about? Well, officer, to tell you the truth, I'm just as clueless as you are.
Trouble Busters!
Jumbo chicken meatballs made with the highest quality chicken, eh? No wonder your restaurant is so popular with your customers. Well, it is our signature dish after all. But our restaurant had more customers coming, you know, until these meatball skewers joined the rave, that is. I don't think that's the case, sir. Well, in any case, this restaurant won't last very long without the meatballs, I'm sure. No, sir, I believe that at least take good precaution, for they could very well be stolen. My name is Alan, and I'm the manager of a skewer restaurant called Full with a Foo-Foo-Foo. And the restaurant is very busy every day, mostly thanks to its signature menu item, which is a jumbo chicken meatball skewer. However, I'm worried about Mr. Kingman, the manager of our rival restaurant called Lord Smoky, who keeps bothering us with little parting shots, as you just heard. And a few days later, he said that particular line. No, they're gone? My chicken meatballs have been stolen?
Are you all right, Master?
The chicken meatballs I had prepared right here are gone, and several of them have disappeared at once, so I think they might have been stolen.
Could the culprit be Trevor, sir? You and I both know he often snacks on skewers throughout his shifts.
Even if you say so, it's still completely raw. Even a dumbass like him wouldn't snack on a few whole skewers that are raw.
I suppose you're right.
Shit, some were stolen again today. Master! What's up, son? It seems that Lord Smoky's become very popular lately, and apparently it's their chicken meatballs that are especially famous. What the? The radiant shine of the golden brown grill marks and the addictingly fragrant smell? There's no doubt about it. Those are our chicken meatballs from Full with a Foo-Foo-Foo. Could you shake a leg and order up, dude? Not like I have all day, to be honest. I'm sorry. Excuse me? Well, looky here. If it isn't the manager from Full with a Foo-Foo-Foo. Got any business here? Yes, I do. A little. Oh, hold up. I hear your chicken meatball skewers were stolen a couple of times. How do you know? Don't take my connections too lightly, buddy. I'll take your word for it. But it seems like your number of customers is decreasing because you can't provide their signature dish which you're so proud of, huh? At this rate, it's only a matter of time before your restaurant closes, isn't it? Well, to be honest, more to the point. Eh? You came here to claim we stole your stuff? We didn't do anything, you know. No, Mr. Kingman, I don't believe anything of the sort. Then why did you come all the way to my restaurant, eh? I merely came to warn you that there have been a few cases of theft at our restaurant and to be careful yourself. Get lost, punk! But sir, you must understand, if someone stole your chicken meatballs from your store, it must have been because there was a problem with the security measures. I won't deny that, but, lamenting your own powerlessness, are we, buddy? First of all, do you have any evidence that it was stolen at all? That's why I don't suspect anybody. It's terrible to suspect anyone, myself included, when you don't have any evidence to support your claims. If I may order? We're currently talking business, man. Read the air, for God's sake. All right, if you're done with your business here, can you refrain from staying here any longer and get back to work? Sorry to bother you. Those were definitely our chicken meatballs, but it's also true that we don't have any solid evidence to prove that they are. If I can't provide the proper number of chicken meatballs, my store will just fade away into darkness. No, not on my watch. I won't let my store end so easily. If I can't use security cameras, then I have another idea. Unforgivable! Trouble Busters, initiate! Master? Trevor, my boy, what's up? I have something to talk to you about. What is it? Could you explain what this is all about? Well, officer, to tell you the truth, I'm just as clueless as you are. There's so much smoke coming out of your restaurant. How can you not know what's going on? No, I really can't tell, you see. It all happened when I was grilling some chicken meatballs, and then an ungodly amount of smoke started spreading around the restaurant. So you were the culprit after all, eh? What? You? Well, now everything is crystal clear. What's going on? The culprit who stole our chicken meatballs, it was none other than you, was it not? Huh? For the last time, what's going on here? Mr. Kingman, you stole our chicken meatball skewers, which also happened to contain some flares, didn't you? Flares? By flares, you don't mean the kind you always keep in your car? Yes, that's right. A flare in the chicken meat? What in the goddamn? No matter what you say, if you check the meat, I'm sure your confusion will clear up soon enough. Would you permit us to investigate the inside of your store, Mr. Kingman? No, inside is, well... The smoke's dissipated enough for it to be safe, it seems. But still, I don't think it's the best idea. Yeah, we'd like to check it out anyway. What? Now then, Mr. Kingman, would you like to tell me the details as to how this whole thing transpired? I think you just stole my line, buddy. I ought to ask you how this whole thing transpired. Yes, I agree. That's why I'm telling you that the chicken meatballs I had prepared that contained flares were the same ones that had been stolen. How can you say that for sure? Dude, if you look at the amount of smoke, you can tell that it's a flare. I disagree. That's not necessarily the case. Then why did this happen? That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm in trouble because I have no freaking idea. But didn't you tell those two officers earlier you were grilling the chicken meatball skewers when the smoke started to be a problem? Shit, you heard that, huh? But what kind of yakitori restaurant doesn't have chicken meatballs on their menu, huh? I'm sure every place does, Mr. Kingman, and yet a situation where so much smoke was created when chicken meatballs were cooking is hard to come by, isn't it? Does cooking chicken meatballs result in this situation every single time, is what I'm asking you? Hell no! Only a flare would create something like this! Only a flare would create something like this, huh? Whoa there, buddy. You're admitting that you had my chicken meatballs then, aren't you? Shit. No, hypothetically speaking, only in an if scenario. Let's suppose that what you said is true, but who the frick would go that far? No. More importantly, isn't it worse to steal chicken meatballs without any hesitation or fear of getting caught? Wouldn't you hate it if the ingredients in your store were stolen? Don't change the subject. If something happened to my store, would you be able to take responsibility? Answer me, huh? I'm not changing the subject, Mr. Kingman. After all, this whole damn thing wouldn't have happened if the chicken meatballs hadn't been stolen in the first place. Also, why are you talking to me like that so defensively? You didn't steal our chicken meatballs, did you? Or are you being honest without even realizing it and accepting you committed the crime? No, this is also what they call a what-if story, dude. It's not really a story or anything, but... Frick you and your oh-so-nitpicky attitude in this whole affair. I say one thing, you play fricking devil's advocate and counter what I say. You don't have many friends, do you? I think I do have a fair number of friends, thank you very much, and I'm blessed with great subordinates at work. But anyway, since we're here, let's go along with your what-if story. Huh? What if something happened to your store because of a flare that caused a great commotion and could get you into trouble? About that, what I did was simply put a few flares in the meat and did nothing more, and the skewers were prepared and stored inside my restaurant. As I said before, all of this wouldn't have happened if there hadn't been a theft in the first place. Stealing something from someone else's store and misusing it for your own personal benefit? If that's the conclusion here, then it's your own fault. But I've never heard of anyone putting flares inside of chicken meat. Were you planning to give them to customers? Absolutely not. That makes things even stranger, bucko. I agree. Perhaps putting flares inside of chicken meatballs is quite unheard of, but in the end, it's the same even if you replace the meat with a car. The hell are you talking about? As you know, a flare is an item that you should originally keep in your car. For example, let's say someone stole a flare from a certain car, and let's say the culprit then misuses it and causes trouble to the surrounding community. Would the owner of the flare be in the wrong then? But that scenario tells us the culprit knew it was a flare and stole it anyway. So of course the thief is in the wrong here. But in this case, it's chicken meatballs that we're talking about, see? But in the end, the flares were stolen too, weren't they? Who the hell would go into a yakitori restaurant just to steal flares, eh? I thought it was the usual chicken meatballs, so I stole them. No, even stealing the chicken meatballs is a violation of law since it is a crime. I know that, but lest we forget, we're talking about a what-if scenario here. Damn, you get so passionate about what-if scenarios, I see. Shut the hell! As though it was actually non-fiction. Well, let's put a pin in this what-if nonsense. You adamantly claim you didn't steal the chicken meatballs, right? Of course I do! More importantly, I think it's my turn to interrogate. Interrogate whom, Mr. Kingman? Huh? You just said you would interrogate someone. Why would you interrogate a third party and shift the blame onto them when this is something that happened in your store? Well, if you claim you didn't steal anything, there's no need to bring uninvolved people into this matter, I believe. Another what if here, buddy. Have you been listening to me at all? I told you we put a pin in the what-if bullshit, didn't I? What we're talking about now is real-life scenarios, the reality of this mess. This punk? You sure are one to talk, Mr. Kingman, letting the cat out of the bag so easily. Shut up! That's because you add on stupid details that jumble my thoughts and make it look like I'm guilty here. No matter how you look at it, I think it's you that's adding on details that are unnecessarily complicating things. Shit! So, should I take this as an admission that you did the crime? No, you shouldn't! I never stole any of the chicken meatballs! You're overthinking things! We'll soon find out if I'm overthinking it or not, bucko. How was it, officer? A flare was found in one of the skewers that was being roasted in the kitchen. Shit! I see, so you are guilty after all. It would be better to conduct a detailed investigation. No, it's too early to declare me guilty. There was just a flare. Listen to me. How could they have found a flare in the skewer in your store? I was wondering what would happen if you put a flare in the skewer and grilled it together with the meat. You realize there's a line of logical reason in making excuses, right? Mr. Kingman, can't you stop this pointless attempt at escape already? This man gave me some of his stuff. What? You see, my store and his are close to each other physically, right? And since we're both yakitori restaurants, we get along well and exchange pointers and information, see? Is that so? Well, my store is right down the street, but today I thought I would grill the stuff he gave me, and this is what happened. He doesn't like the fact that my store is doing well, so he set up a trap to frame me as a thief. Now hold on a moment. I just wanted to get along with him, and yet he resorts to do something like this? This is too far beyond my limits of forgiveness, Alan! So, you intentionally planted a flare and gave the skewer to King Smokey's master, knowing it would cause him trouble? Is that what you mean? No, it's not, officer. Why don't you just admit to your wrongdoing too, eh? Oh, hold up, what's this? Been put in such a difficult position and run out of words to say back, have we? No, that's not it. I just thought something like this might happen, you see. This is... Yes, sir, a voice recorder. I was right to have taken measures against a scenario like this. You... Since when did you... Since the beginning, Mr. Kingman. It's been going on for a long time, ever since we started talking. That's irrelevant. If that's the case, shall we ask these kind officers to have a listen? Well, there's no more reassuring approval than that of a policeman, so how about it, officers? We don't mind at all. Hold it right there! Huh? What are you waiting for? Well, I don't think you need to go that far. But from your point of view, it's just a bluff, isn't it? Of course. Then let's make it clear. Otherwise, you'll be left in the dark too, won't you? I would, maybe, but I guess it's still useless. How can you say something like that? Well, look, our conversation was based on what-if scenarios, right? We've only talked about the hypothetical and not the real. Fear not, good sir. The conversations after the what-if stories were also recorded loud and clear. Well, I also went along with your what-if nonsense, but I think there's a limit to how much you can cover up with hypothetical ideas, good sir. Hey, don't say unnecessary things, huh? No, it doesn't make a difference because we're gonna have people listen anyway. And if what I'm saying is just a bluff, you don't have to worry about anything whatsoever now, do you? Well then. Wait! What else do you have to say? I'm all right with listening to it, but the officers, they're busy, aren't they? They have a lot of things to do for the night. Oh, we could spare a few hours, no problem. This is also part of our job description, after all. You heard them, good sir. Without further ado... Wait! Let's assume the testimony is a fact. Oh, he admits it? No, I didn't admit it. I mean, hypothetically, see? So? You mean to frame me as the culprit, but you have no evidence that proves I stole anything from your store. If you really want to make me guilty, prepare a video of me on a security camera. Oh, you're right, a security camera. Wait, you don't have one? So you can't be certain that I'm guilty. Yes, our security camera is currently non-functional right now. So about the evidence that you took the chicken meatballs, unfortunately, such visual evidence doesn't exist. There you go! And additionally, how could I break into your store's kitchen, huh? If I entered from the store's side, it would be too obvious and I'd be found out immediately, and the back door is locked. Because of these details, it must have been impossible for me to take the skewers as you claim I have. Yes, as you say, it would be extremely difficult for you to enter my store and steal the skewers yourself. There you go! As such, steal the skewers yourself, I said. What are you trying to say? Obviously, you didn't steal the chicken meatballs with your own two hands and instead resorted to another way to obtain them. For the last time! You have an accomplice in this, don't you? Huh? The theft of the chicken skewers on this occasion was perpetrated by your actions and by those of another person. And what's more, that other person can enter and exit our store as they please, freely. In other words, your partner in crime is one of our very own staff. Now you better take things easy. Why would I cooperate with staff from another store to do something like that? Yeah, I've already called them over. When did you? Oh, and it looks like they've come at just the right time. Miss Susan, do you know why I called you?
No, sir.
You were the one who cooperated with Mr. Kingman to steal the chicken meatballs, weren't you?
What is this about, sir? If someone would do something like that, it would have to be Trevor, who's always snacking.
Susan, we already have all the evidence, you see.
What?
Trevor, whom you were suspicious of, told me everything he knew. He simply happened to see you carrying away the chicken meatballs on a tray.
Oh, that must have been a mistake on his part.
Ah, you're good at making excuses, just like your partner, huh? I wanted it to have been a mistake on his part too, believe me. But Trevor is quite clever, you see. He recorded you taking out the skewers on his phone. What's more, he even set up the smartphone so that you wouldn't notice you were being recorded.
When did he?
It's amazing that he found something that even I, the manager, couldn't, isn't it? He has the talent to become a notorious detective.
So then, the video evidence?
I have it all, of course. I've already received the data from Trevor. No way! I heard that the security camera was broken. You heard about that? No, that's, well... The security camera is indeed malfunctioning, but that was just a coincidence. And if someone thought the timing was right and that the skewers could be stolen right then there would be speculation for cunning planning. Listen to me!
Manager Thompson, sir, I'm so sorry.
Susan? Hey now, what are you apologizing for?
Uncle Ben, this is too much. I've reached my limit. I don't want to do this anymore.
What? Uncle? Susan, dear, could you clue me in on the details, please?
My parents once relied on Uncle Ben for money, but because of that, he asked for a lot of favors in return, and his demands to cooperate with him on this particular issue arose about a month ago, and, well, I suppose the rest is history.
Susan, think about what you're saying. So that's what happened.
At first, I told him that I didn't want to, of course, but then he threatened me, saying that if I didn't cooperate...
That's enough, dear. I think I get the gist of the situation. Susan, you little... Mr. Kingman, may I ask you to explain now? No, this is just Susan speaking bullshit. Susan volunteered to cooperate because my store's sales were declining, see? She was eager to help me out, you see. It was her who first came up with the idea about skewers. I don't know anything. Susan, you did so well today, too. If you keep stealing the chicken meatballs like this periodically, that store will eventually close down, and I can get my business back up again.
Uncle, I don't want to do this anymore.
You don't want to do it, eh? You know what's going to happen then, don't you? Not only you, but your parents, too. I see.
Not only that, but I've also written down all of the things, good and bad, that Uncle Ben told me over these last few weeks in a diary.
So you've done all this, huh? Well done, but in the end it's just a diary full of words. You still deny you committed any crimes? What the hell, man? You might be underestimating what testimonies can be, but this is also solid evidence, you understand, and the diary too. Are they really? You know that already. When I offered to have the officers here listen to the recording I'd captured, you went into such a frenzy. You panicked because you knew full well that was good enough evidence against you, right? Sure, but what we talked about were what if. Enough with the stupid goddamn what if arguments. The reason I pushed the conversation forward was to clarify the matter regarding Susan. At first I thought Susan was guilty of committing crimes too, but now it's all crystal clear. But there's no doubt that she did the act. True. This doesn't make Susan completely innocent in this either. But who is the one who made her do something she didn't want to do of her own free will? I had no choice. I was desperate to keep my store afloat too. Huh? I thought that if I sold your jumbo chicken meatball skewers, your signature menu item, I could get my once fair number of customers back. Such a selfish reason. It's not selfish. You're to blame in this too. What? You freaking opened your store long after I did, and yet you still get more frickin' customers than we do. That's what I don't approve of. Without your store, the number of customers for us wouldn't have decreased. Can you really come to that conclusion? Yes, I'm certain. Then I'm certain too. I'm certain that the decrease in customer numbers at your store is not our fault. Excuse me? Want proof? Take a look at the reviews of your store. Most of the negative reviews are regarding customer service. They especially complain that the manager's attitude, your attitude, is terrible. It's just their imagination. It's not just their imagination. When I visited the other day, you were arrogantly treating the customers like they were slaves to you. Well, I mean, but the taste is top-notch. I'm sure you're right. But no matter how good the taste of the food is, if the customer service is poor, the customer will never want to come again. It has nothing to do with my store or my chicken meatballs. It's all the result of your own actions. Putting your store aside, Mr. Kingman, you're not going to get away with this. What? What's going to happen to me? What you did is the crime of theft for stealing chicken meatballs and the crime of threat for physically intimidating Susan. Isn't that right, officers? Indeed it is. Damn, you've really studied up. So that means you're not going to be able to avoid arrest. I'm getting arrested? And we'll have to ask for damages for the loss to the store caused by the theft of the chicken meatballs. What? Getting arrested and paying damages? That can't be acceptable! I told you, you brought it all on yourself. Well then, officers. Yes, sir. There's no point in talking anymore about this here, so... Yeah, I'm sorry! My pranks have gone too far! It can't be just a prank. Yes, I'm aware, and I'm sorry about all this. I regret everything. Sorry, but I can't forgive you. Don't say that, please. I'll pay for the amount I stole. It's not that kind of problem. Why? It's fine if I can make up for your losses, right? Of course, you'll have to take responsibility for the incident with the chicken meatballs, but the thing I'm most angry about is what happened with Susan. Susan? Why? My staff are so important to me, they're like family to me. That's how special they are in my eyes, and you dared to take advantage of the weaknesses of those I hold close to my heart and committed multiple despicable acts. I'll never forgive you for that.
Master?
But Susan and I are family, so isn't that right, Susan?
Uncle Ben, I am willing to accept full responsibility for the damage I've caused, and I only demand that you do the same. I can't call you my family otherwise.
Oh, Susan, dear. Susan, even you're... That's how it is, bucko. If you understand now, you accept what you did honestly and take appropriate action to make things right. Please, I can't be arrested. Yeah, buddy. We'll listen to you carefully from now on. Officers, I'll leave everything to you now. Yes, sir. No, please, forgive me. After that, Kingman was arrested, and based on the evidence, he was found guilty of theft and physical threat, and he was given a heavy punishment. Needless to say, this led to the bankruptcy and collapse of his yakitori restaurant. Additionally, Susan was questioned by the police, but thanks to her cooperation, her sincere feelings of regret and remorse, and the situation she was in regarding her uncle, she was only given a strict warning. And then...
Master, are you sure I can still work here?
Of course.
Thank you so much.
But if anything like this happens again, be sure to talk to me, okay? You're an important part of my family after all, and no family of mine's gonna feel threatened again, not on my watch.
Yes, sir.
This incident somehow strengthened the bond between us all, and since our signature dish, the jumbo chicken meatballs, has been revived, let's do our best today too, guys. Trouble Busters!